everybody. Welcome to the Dracut Connection. Today, January 9th, 2020. Coming to you live from our palatial studios here in Dracut at Dracut Access TV. Because I was the last one here, I've been told I volunteered to host tonight. So, my name's George Bogue. I'll be your main co-host. I'm joined to my left by Brian Bond, and across the table by John Zimini. And so we'll just open the show. I'll ask John how you're doing. What have you been up to?
I'm doing great, George. I'm doing great. I have some unbelievable news. I've been invited by a national focus group to be involved in a focus group on the presidential election here in New England and New Hampshire. In fact, we're taping it tomorrow night, just outside of Manchester, and they're giving me a stipend, right? Cash. And they're giving me a dinner, all to hear my opinion.
Can't beat
There's
that. Now,
one of 25. I filled out a form a while ago, and I'm excited.
So they're interviewing undecided voters, is that it?
Nope. I think they're doing a mix, because they give you a survey and what have you, and they actually sent me an email, but and then I ignored it, and they actually called because they wanted me on the show. I'm just better than Brian
Will
Bond.
this be aired somewhere that we could actually watch
Yes,
it?
and you'll recognize the name, Frank Luntz.
Oh, okay.
Good
Frank
deal.
Luntz.
Good deal.
It's
John.
usually on
Fox. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Maybe it's a future TV star.
There you go.
You never know.
You could be on, on Tucker Carlson or something.
There you go. You never know.
Yeah.
You never know.
Right?
And I'm kind of afraid, but I'm going to ask Brian what he's been up to.
Well, we've been mountain climbing.
There's a
We're having a
shock.
great time. I think it was last weekend we hiked it started out as rain and turned to snow as we got higher up in elevations. Had a really good time, and we're probably going to do it again this Saturday, the same deal, another rainy weekend, little windy. If you're curious on where other co-hosts are, Phil Tebow is at the selection committee meeting right now for the new town manager, so he's involved with that. And I think Gordy Scott is out on assignment. Who knows where?
It's basketball season, so he's probably working somewhere.
Right.
Well, it's been quiet with the holidays and everything, so I had a nice, quiet, low-key New Year's. Watching Anderson Cooper do shots and, make an idiot of himself.
On what? On
CNN.
New Year's Eve?
New Year's Eve, yeah. They're in Times Square, like every hour they do a shot.
So you were probably one of 4 people that watched New Year's Eve.
Yeah, but it was kind of amusing. And then Fox didn't start theirs until 11, and then they had Steve Harvey and Gronk on.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Did you see what happened?
Yeah,
Poor Steve Harvey had a very nice Lego bust of himself that
Ended up
barely made it into the new year as Gronk spiked it.
Yeah.
Not to spin off, but did anybody think anything different was going to happen when you have Gronk on stage?
Gronk,
The unpredictable will happen.
It being New Year's Eve, God knows what Gronk was doing when people weren't watching. If Anderson Cooper did a couple of shots, I'm sure Gronk did multiple.
We're not live. I don't know why on Facebook.
Hey, Ron, can you check and see what's going on with the live feed on Facebook when you get a spare moment? So what else, George? You're in charge here, kid.
Not much. As noticing driving, first off, the parking lot was packed. Owen and Ollie's must be very busy tonight.
We've got it, John. Let me interrupt. Ron, we do have a live feed.
Why don't I have it?
Well, you just can't keep up, John.
I guess not.
We got 16 viewers right now.
Where is it?
Yeah, and we'll lose them all if we don't move along here. So
Exactly.
yeah, as I know, so walking from the far end of the parking lot was very cold, but I heard on the weather today that this coming Saturday it might be 60 degrees.
Get out.
January.
Get out. Really?
I don't know. I heard that on the car radio going to work this morning, but maybe we should, get the latest update. And we just happen to have in the Roger Daigle studio here, our Studio B, Sean Kelly Broadcasting will do a weather report for us.
Awesome.
Find out exactly, will it be 60 degrees this weekend?
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me on tonight, Dracut Connection. Thank you for that. Hi, Brian, in the other studio. And this graphic is for you. So this is for Saturday, and 41 degrees for a summit of 5,299 feet. winds could be gusting over 70 miles an hour. So if you're heading up north, especially at this elevation, watch out. Probably not a good idea to even get up there. And looking back at home for tonight, we're going to drop down to 18 degrees, very cold tonight. Winds coming from the south, 5 to 10 miles an hour. As we head into your Friday, sun's going to be back with us too, and mostly cloudy. So again, some peaks of sun is possible, especially in the afternoon hours. Not as cold as you notice. Winds are going to be gusting from 10 to 15 miles an hour, especially in the afternoon. As we head into your Friday night, mostly cloudy. Clouds are going to start to move in. 43 degrees is what we're going to be dropping to on Friday night. As we head into your Saturday, this is going to be a pick of the weekend. 61 degrees, mostly cloudy, breezy too though. Winds coming from the southwest at 15 to 20 miles an hour. As we head into your Saturday night, not going to drop down that much. 58 degrees is what we're going to drop down to. Showers possible for your Saturday night. As we look at your 7-day forecast, Friday 47 degrees. Look at Sunday 64 degrees, but we could have a chance for seeing a few thunderstorms. If not, there could be a boundary that would set up. So we could be in the 40s if that boundary starts to set up over the Merrimack Valley. So that is something that we are watching on Sunday. Next round of rain is going to be on Tuesday, 36 degrees, and by next Thursday, we could be having some wintry precip. So that's another thing to watch. Back to you guys in the studio.
Awesome.
Well, that was good. I guess
was
that
awesome.
rumor is confirmed. I can hardly wait.
Awesome.
I
Yeah.
kind of enjoyed the fact that he did Mount Jefferson, the forecast for Mount Jefferson, because Mary and I were considering hiking there.
Yeah.
But my concern was it was going to be raining, and I thought there were 65 mile an hour winds, and he confirmed it's going to be 70 mile an hour winds.
So not a good idea to go up.
Not a good idea to go. So we'll probably hit a low-lying mountain, keep the wind speed down to 30, 40 miles an hour, which, you know, big guy like me, I should be able to hold that down. It might lift Mary off the ground, but who knows?
You better harness her somehow. So we're waiting now because Sean's going to come back in, right? Is he going to come back in?
I believe that's the plan.
The plan is
Yeah,
for him
you
to
can
come in.
explain how this-
What a great addition to the Dracut Connection. How do we get him every week or every 2
Well,
weeks?
we have to ask him.
We're going to have to ask him. Get him in here. We'll have to. We'll liquor him up.
Yeah, that'll work too. Yeah.
Toast to Sean as soon as he gets here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, you tune into Dracut Connection, and you get all the news you need.
Everything
and
you
weather.
need. Everything you need to know. So-
And maybe we'll move into doing traffic reports. Who
Oh,
knows?
George, what are we going to talk about? We're going to sit down with Sean,
Right.
talk about his program and what he does. But what else do we have on the agenda for this evening after?
Well, there's always national and state politics, but the town election seems to be bubbling to the surface. It seems like we have a couple of candidates for selectmen.
only because it's May coming up. But we're going to get into that into depth after
Right.
Sean comes on for a little bit. But if I can take a minute, I want to say a couple of words to a couple of people who I think are out there that are recovering from illness or surgery. Colleen Gary recently had some surgery. We want to, we don't always agree on things that she's doing, but we want to reach out to her and say, wish
Absolutely.
her well,
Right.
and say get her better and get her back onto the scene so we can beat her up some more.
I would like to, I want to compliment Colleen. There was a story in the Lowell Sun that she is the Democrat apparently that votes against leadership the most.
Yeah,
Which
72
good
point
stuff.
something percent.
Yeah.
And Roger Daigle's doing great.
Roger Daigle, we wanted
So
to
that's
mention.
good to
all
hear.
good
Good.
news.
He's home, he's finally home and doing well after recovering from a little issue.
Sean is with us now, so we want to
here.
talk with him a little bit. Thanks for coming in.
Good
And
to see
Nice
you,
to
Sean.
see you.
Good to see you.
Nice to see you guys.
see you.
Nice to see you.
so I guess maybe we want to, maybe we'll ask a little bit about how you do forecasts, but I'm interested in how you do your presentation. I've heard that you use, I guess it's called green screen technology. How exactly does that work?
Well, there's a lot of magic behind the screen, Ron, of course. I make a lot of the graphics at home, and then I input them into the computer, of course. And every week I bring my laptop over, and there it is. Now I have a clicker and everything. I remember starting off, and at one point he would have to actually press a button, and we'd go to the next slide and everything. So,
I mean, I'm old
definitely
enough to remember
off.
the TV guys had like an actual map they'd pull out.
Yeah, and
for
the whiteboard.
Yeah.
Don Kent.
Don Kent.
Right.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nikon.
I
So-
do appreciate you giving us the weather for Mount Jefferson.
Yeah, I
It's
was
going to
able
be
to
pretty
squeeze that
nasty
in.
up there,
Yep.
so good advice not
Yeah,
to.
probably not good to go over there.
Yeah, I agree.
So are you expanding your, is this a business for you or a sideline?
We're actually right now, because I own the Mill City Weather, of
Right.
course. Right now, we're discussing if it's going to be either a nonprofit or an LLC. So
Oh, great.
we're thinking about that right now, moving forward this year.
But currently, you're a just, hey, I'm Sean Kelly.
Yeah, it's almost
broadcast.
Mill City-
everywhere
Mill
I
City
go
Weather.
now. Everybody almost already knows who I am. I'm taking pictures all over the place, and
And so, you do. How often do you do a show here at Dracut Access TV?
I do it every Friday.
Every Friday.
Every Friday, yeah.
Every Friday morning, evening. What do you-
Noon, around noon time. Noon, 1 o'clock. Yeah.
Great. So how can we get you to join the Dracut Connection and come in every couple of weeks and?
Oh,
like it's-
absolutely.
Like at 7.
I mean, I don't live that far. So,
Like at 7:30,
anytime.
you jump in, do your 2 minutes, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
that'll give us a little break.
I can do that.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
good
would be
deal.
Awesome.
Yeah. We could do
So
that.
we're going to put him on the cell phone.
Could always call in,
text.
too.
And you call in.
Could always call in.
Sure.
If I'm not around remotely,
sure.
I could always call in.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. That would be great too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
let's
I
do it.
remember
Yes.
when I was in college, I was looking for electives, and I saw meteorology, and I'm like, that sounds really cool. And then I looked at the prerequisites, and they were all this heavy math.
It's a lot of
And
science.
I'm like,
Yeah.
that ain't for me. How did you get into this?
Computers. I mean, at first, it all started when I was about 5, and I just got struck by lightning, and
Well,
ever since I
You
went.
got struck by
No, I
lightning?
didn't get struck.
Oh,
Thank
okay.
God I didn't.
Yeah, okay.
But I almost did. So ever since I took up electrical. Actually, last night I went to Baylor Tech. Went to go see my old teachers over there. They had an open house, and electrical. And then after I got out of high school, it's just been the weather.
Oh, great.
So it's totally different than what I was
So
expecting.
what kind of
but
equipment do you use to formulate what your weather forecast is going to be and how
I
you
have
forecast it?
I have 17 computers,
Wow.
which is crazy. I don't even-
17.
17. I don't even have enough room for everything.
Wow.
And I have all these screens, and basically, especially when we go into storm mode, that's what they call it.
Mm-hmm.
We have almost about 9 computers running at a time, and it's crazy. You go from one computer to the other. I mean, there's a lot of questions that come in about the weather, what's going to happen, and school closings. We do that too. We work with a lot of superintendents now.
So where can somebody find you when they're broadcasting? When you're
So-
broadcasting?
Well, at Dracut Access Television, of
Right.
course. Other than that, millcityweather.com.
Mm.
We're on. Yep, and of course we're big on Facebook now.
That's awesome.
So we've
How-
always been.
How many
on it.
people you have on your Facebook
Um,
followers?
18,000.
Wow.
Wow.
We have like a lot of the city officials follow us, and we do the forecast for like the Winterfest and Dracut Old Home Day.
That's awesome.
Yep, always.
That's awesome.
I know, you'll see these 10-day forecasts or this or that. How far out can you reasonably forecast?
We were thinking about doing a 10-day forecast, but the accuracy definitely changes after 5 days. At first, when I started off, it was 5 days, and then it changed it to a 7, because a lot of people do a 7. But the further out you get, the less accuracy you're going to have. So,
Can I ask you a question about Mount Washington
Hmm?
and that whole presidential range and the storms and the wind speed?
Yeah.
What causes all that? Because it seems-
elevation. It's all elevation. This past summer, I actually went up on the auto road all the way up, and it's amazing. At the base, I believe it was like maybe around 90 degrees, and we were going up, and that was my first time actually way up on the summit. We went into the clouds, and by the time we got to the top, it was in the 50s.
Wow.
It was amazing. I mean, that elevation change is all it is. I mean, you get into the mid-level of the winds, which is the 70-mile-per-hour winds we're just forecasting.
which is pretty. It's not that bad because I think
you got the gust. Yeah, you're not going to get sustained 70-mile-per-hour winds. You're going to get the gusts. That are gonna
I think
come
there
in.
was a record there set of like 240 miles an hour.
Yeah,
one
Mount
of the-
Washington, yeah.
Yeah,
But
so
there was
that's-
another place that actually outbeat it.
Just recently, maybe a couple of years ago, right?
Yeah, I don't think that was, I don't know if it was a human or not that recorded it. I think it was a computer at the time. So
Plus, being so close to the ocean, that has to factor in too.
495, this is the big thing. I just learned this the other day. The 495 belt was actually built on elevation. So that's why when you're watching the news a lot, especially for the weather, they talk about 495 a lot, 'cause that's a defining factor.
Oh.
So, what do you mean by elevation? Meaning what? That is sea level, or is that?
They're above sea level.
The road itself
The
is
road-
above sea
yeah.
level. Was built on elevation, so.
Yeah. So it's amazing. That's why, especially we have to deal with the sea breeze. We're in the valley, so if you get a storm that comes from the west over the Berkshires, then the storm has to go over the Worcester Hills after that. Then it has to come back over into the Merrimack Valley. So that's why sometimes it's tough, especially in the summer when we get thunderstorms. You
You know
know,
what,
it
I
starts
work-
breaking down, and then you get the sea breeze that comes in. Sometimes that could re-intensify the storm.
I mean, I work in Boston, so I'll
Oh,
leave.
Boston's
I'll
crazy,
leave here
yeah.
in the morning, and
Yep.
it'll be cold, and I'll
Oh, yeah.
maybe snowy. I'll get in Boston, it'll be warm.
Yep.
Not necessarily warm, but it'll be a lot warmer than it is here.
Yeah, closer to the water. of
Yeah.
course. You get that sea breeze. I mean, sometimes it kicks back almost about 20 miles. So we're right on that. Yep.
So, what's your
Yeah, really.
favorite kind of weather?
Blizzards.
Blizzard.
I love being out in the blizzards.
It's more excitement.
Just reporting live. I mean, I remember when we had Nemo a few years ago. I was actually out on that reporting live
Wow.
on University Ave Bridge, and all you feel is the wind and the cold. The flakes. I can't see your face, and it's
Awesome.
Well, that's,
Nothing
I
like
mean,
it.
I've got to kind of speak that too, because when I'm on top of a summit and it's the wind is blowing and
Yep.
the snow is pounding, it's the adrenaline rush, the wind can be doing. I remember being on Mount Madison, and I don't know what the winds were, but they were strong enough to lift me off the ground. Just kind of picked me up and threw me down, and it was like just such a rush, right?
Yep.
And
Kind of felt like the Superman you think.
yeah,
you are.
yeah, it wasn't very long of a flight, but enough to.
I would say tornadoes and all that, but on average, Massachusetts gets about 3 a year, and I haven't really been that lucky in the Merrimack Valley, I guess. I mean, if I want to see them, I have to go out west into like Berkshires and all that.
Yeah,
That's
they had a
where
big one in Springfield a couple of years ago.
Springfield, yeah,
as I recall.
2011. I think it was,
Yeah.
yeah, remember that one. Yeah, that's a bad one.
So, what else do you do besides? Do you have full-time weather now?
I actually work at Ace Hardware, AG Hardware, which is in Lowell.
Okay.
That's where I work every day. Thankfully, they allow me to do the weather there. I bring my laptop to work, and especially if we get severe weather or something comes up.
Oh yeah, they get it. That
I
gives them
have
an
to.
edge. They know when to order
And I
those
let them,
shovels.
yes, so I let them know when we're getting storms, so that, they're prepared. That's good to have, as an asset for the company. I'm always trying to help them out, and people brings customers in because I'm a face for the company.
Right.
And yeah, my grandfather used to own Gagnon Hardware, which was up on Riverside University.
Yeah, it's a Dunkin' Donuts now. I remember that.
So
yeah.
it's my great grandfather's brother, I believe, opened up the place where I work now.
Well,
So what do you think the opportunity of getting you out with Dracut Access TV's van in a major snowstorm and do a live feed, right?
As long as they can get out there, I would do it. I would love to do it.
Well,
And especially
definitely.
here when we get winter storms, I would love to go live.
Yeah,
the
yeah, that would be
studio.
awesome.
and
I
that
think people love to
season's
see
coming
that.
up. I mean,
Yeah, I'm
I'm not.
waiting.
I know global warming is bad and all this stuff, but I actually like the fact our winters are now basically 6 weeks long.
George.
The middle of January through the end of February.
Yep. Yep. The season, as of this year, it looks like it's going to be at the end of January and then towards the beginning of or middle of February, I guess.
So you think that
I think that's going to be the brunt of the winter.
Winter's going to kind of fade out early this year, you're thinking?
Hopefully. I mean, we have to get the seasons back in check. I mean, the seasons have been off for multiple years now, and it's been tough to get back into the pattern.
So John McDonough sends hellos to everybody. I hope
John,
you-
yes.
Hope you're feeling
Yep.
better, John. And he compliments you that your accuracy is fantastic.
Yeah, we
Your
actually
accuracy.
have a company out there that grades every forecast that we put out.
Wow,
So we're waiting for the final results. Hopefully this week, next week,
awesome.
we'll get.
And
Charlene
Conversation.
Gertz says she's watching.
There you
and,
go.
We got Mandy Ayotte chiming in.
That's right. So we got a lot of people watching, Sean, and that's
Yep.
a great thing, and we're so happy to have you. And
So here's your make your pitch before you leave.
yeah,
Thank you all for following. It's been nice over the years. I am going to pursue getting onto TV. I already have got a few offers.
awesome.
I can't announce anything yet, but
Good.
we're on talks. We're going somewhere.
So you'll come back here to announce it?
I will.
All right.
Well, I'll
Absolutely.
have to do it on TV, of course.
There you go.
But in the meantime, of course, you can watch me on Dracut Access Television, typically on Fridays. And again, if we get any big storms, of course, I'll do my best to be on here, and then on Hill City Weather.
And I think it's great that we could get you, during our show.
Oh, absolutely.
And,
Yep.
we typically have to segment halfway through the show,
Yep.
and we can get a update on the forecast
Yep.
for the folks who tune in here at the Dracut Connection.
Good.
People
Great.
need a forecast. There's a lot of planning. People have weddings and a lot of events. So
That's right.
Well,
Awesome.
to be out there.
Thanks
Thank
a lot.
you very
for
much for coming in,
Thank
and
you.
good luck.
Thank you.
All right. So
Ron, do we have a little PSA?
a little break here?
Yeah.
Or you could just jump up.
Okay,
Yeah,
just
you
all
can
right.
just, you
Or
know,
jump
the
off.
camera's
Congratulations,
on
now.
us.
Good
Thank
luck
you guys
to you.
again.
Good
Thank
luck,
you.
John.
Appreciate
you.
your time. Appreciate coming
Absolutely.
in.
Thanks again for coming in, John. Nice to see you.
It's good to see you. Thank you. Yep, you too. All right, so
We got
Calls me googly eyes.
You know you're beautiful, right? You know that?
Even you are beautiful. I got bullied for wearing glasses. Share if you're against bullying.
We put it out there, just took off. 3 million people have shared this post. Don't let bullies get you down. I stand with you. The whole family's wearing glasses. I wear glasses and I'm proud.
I even have the army on my team.
All the kind comments brought my child joy. I don't feel thank you is enough.
Thanks.
Maybe he's really focused.
Hey, Michael. Michael. Maybe he likes spinning the wheels.
Maybe he just loves trucks.
Maybe he's just being a boy.
Preoccupation with objects is one early sign of autism. Learn the others today. The sooner it's diagnosed, the better.
What this place needs is better graduation rates.
What this place needs is less childhood obesity.
What this place needs is free help with taxes.
What this place needs is healthy breakfast.
What this place needs is fitness programs for kids.
What this place needs is early readers.
What this place needs is mentors for teens.
What this place needs is people to join us. What this place needs is you. To donate or volunteer, go to unitedway.org.
Yeah, welcome back. Thank you very much for joining us. It was very interesting about how the weather's actually done. Now we're going to move into more serious stuff. We're going to talk about the town election. And before we get to I believe there's 2 people have already announced. I saw something over the weekend that apparently Kevin O'Neill is being urged to run for select.
Oh, Kevin O'Brien, you mean?
Kevin O'Brien. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
I hope so.
Yeah.
That would make it
Well,
interesting.
I mean, make the debates really interesting, assuming he comes in and debates. It doesn't just like sit outside
Yeah.
like he did when he came
And-
here.
and try to intimidate people?
Well, again, he's welcome to come on the show anytime he wants. Just, give us a buzz. We'll schedule it to come down, sit here, let's chat about the issues and
Yep.
and whatnot.
But there are 2 people that apparently have announced already, Joe Espinola and Mark Pease. Both seem to be, qualified, serious candidates. I mean, I know Joe a little bit. I met him when he was running for state senate. I don't know Mark, but I guess he has a fairly impressive resume. I mean, you guys know him?
I
don't.
I know Mark because I've chatted with Mark, a few times. Mark, like myself, Mark is a chairman of the planning board. Both Phil Tebow and I were both chairmen of the planning board.
So you're saying this isn't necessarily a jumping board for selectmen?
Well, I guess.
That was a
That's okay. That's okay. But no, the planning board it's a good place to start
Yeah,
to
it is.
get your feet wet in town government. Jesse Forcier was a planning board member there. George Nagel, who's now on the housing authority. You've got the new gentleman on the housing authority, Charlie Kakavas. Kakavas, is it? Who I hear is a great guy. And while we mentioned his name, I heard that he's rumblings of not enough stuff really taking place over there. So that's a good thing, right? If he wants to see more things take place,
Getting
and
bored.
more involved, that's good.
Well, who else have you hearing that's running? I've heard a couple of names. What's her name? Hutchinson.
Heather
Santiago Hutchinson, or is it Hutchinson Santiago? I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either, John.
I'm not sure which way it is. She's running. She's very bright from what I know about her.
Yeah, it is Santiago.
Santiago.
Yeah.
And she's very bright and articulate. I think she's going to make a good candidate. But I think there'll be 4 or 5 people that are going to be running. You may even have 6.
So, John,
Especially
But
if both incumbents though.
But I also heard that,
There'll should be at least one open seat, so that usually draws.
yeah, I also heard, but I
people.
haven't been able to confirm. I'm going to try to confirm it that Allison Hughes has made her decision that she's not running, but I'm not sure. It's not really a reliable source I heard it from, but I'll try to confirm it.
We all know Tammy Dristolaris, right?
Yes.
Has she confirmed whether she's running or not? I mean, she hasn't told me that. I don't know if she's had that conversation with you.
Nope, she hasn't confirmed it yet, but, you know, she should run because she's a good select woman and she'll do a good job at it and continue to do a good job at it.
Right.
She's one of the level-headed ones on the board now, and, you know, I
She's
personally like to see her
a
run again.
she's a proponent to protect the taxpayers.
Right.
That's one thing I've always noticed with Tammy is she's always concerned about what's being spent and you know, what raises are given out and things like that, trying to keep an eye on the buck, which is a good thing, right? Because those are the things that when I ran last year, you know, they were trying to jam that stormwater fee down our throats, right? And luckily with the efforts of this group and other folks, we were able to put a stop to that for now. That could be coming back.
Right.
Another issue that I think we need to really address is at a previous town meeting, you know, when Kathy Richardson was trying to reduce the community preservation tax,
Right.
we had somebody come in and do.
They want to raise it by 25. That's going to be on the ballot with the selectmen's race.
So
I don't
I
think
guess
it is. I don't
that's a
think it's-
campaign.
Isn't it the May?
I don't think it's on. I don't think it got approved to go on.
Why wouldn't it?
It's a good point to find out because I don't think it was properly presented, but I'm not sure.
And how come that's been like? Has that been squashed?
I think it has gone into the woods, but I think you should call the town clerk and find out if
Yeah,
it's
that's
on there.
yeah. We'll reach out to Kathy Graham
Yeah.
and ask her what the status of that is, because yeah, that you know the folks again they're always trying to you know get more money out of the taxpayers, and somebody has to you know represent the taxpayers, right?
I would like to see more emphasis and discussion put on the fact that there's an automatic 2.5% tax increase every year that's never voted on by the board. You know that, right? Proposition 2.5. You don't have to raise the taxes by 2.5%, but every year we get raises of 2.5% automatically.
Does any city or town not raise by 2.5?
Yes, and when they do that, when they don't do it, it expands their levy limit for the next year, so they can automatically put savings in the bank, and they could always go back and raise that levy limit a little bit more, and then you have more expansion for when you say build a new high school or a fire station. You have more dollars to put to go after.
Oh, my mother's watching the show as well.
That's good.
Oh.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom.
Hello. Thanks for joining.
Hi, Mrs. Bond.
Yeah.
Our number one fan.
She's my biggest fan.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, you know, you would think that, you know, when the economy's going good, that's like the state. The state's been throwing money in the rainy day fund. It's now, I think, as high as it's ever been.
Yeah. See, cities like Lowell and Worcester and big cities cannot do the raise and still have a tax, still raise more revenue than the year before because they've expanded their economic base.
Right.
John,
But a town like Dracut, unless they raise that 2.5% every year, the expansion of their tax dollars coming into the coffers
so we're
doesn't
talking about
raise.
the selectmen's race,
Right.
right? And I notice you're kind of beating around the bush because the rumor that I hear is that you're running for selectman.
That's a rumor you hear?
And I also hear that Phil Tebow is running for selectman.
Yes.
And the rumor I hear also is that I may run for selectman.
Yeah, well, you know, those rumors are flying around, but
And what's probably going to happen is this guy's probably going to run for selectman.
Yeah, no, that ain't happening. I'm going
well, there's
right
one
now.
official notice right there.
Yeah, I'm not running.
He's out.
Yeah.
So
what are you doing, Brian?
I'm considering.
Are you still considering it?
I'm considering.
Okay, so then that means everybody else is going to be kind of waiting to see what Brian Bond does before they make a decision.
Are you considering?
Because we wouldn't want to be going up against Brian Bond, the magnificent vote getter of Brian Bond.
Oh, now that is definitely a shot.
You opened up that door.
Mine was kind of obscure. That was pretty blatant.
I think John's afraid to run against me.
Oh,
That's the
yeah,
situation.
I'm shaking in my
But,
boots.
my concern is that I'm, again, nobody really looks out for the taxpayer that's currently on the board, right? And it's all about friends and family and jobs, right?
Right.
So if you've got sitting Chairman Jesse Forcia, I mean, say what you want to say, but last year was the darkest days Dracut has ever seen, and has seen in decades, right? You had the procurement problems, you had the Hayes scandal, you had the Justin George, the
firefighter debacle with Justin
debacle.
George.
You had Dave Chartrand's.
You also have the former maintenance person from the police station.
Correct.
Those
There's
are all
Well,
issues that blew up.
Another thing that I saw on Facebook this week that actually Russ Taylor brought up was the whole problem they're having. The new dispatch center, which is supposed to save us money, but I doubt it ever will, isn't open yet. So
No.
apparently the police department's having trouble filling the current dispatcher positions. Apparently on the overnight shift, sometimes our calls are going to Methuen.
Oh, I see.
Because, and another question is, once the new dispatch center's open, will they staff the police station
Well,
in the
are the calls
overnight?
going to Methuen any differently than if you make a phone call on your cell phone that it goes to the state police and it's rerouted to Dracut? Is it any different than that? I mean,
How much of
Well,
a
I
delay?
mean, in this one, I guess in that case, I think it goes to like the Dracut dispatch, where
Right.
in this case, the Methuen people are reaching out directly to the patrol car.
okay.
The only concern I
It's
have.
not a big deal.
I think it is because the people in Methuen have their own problems, and the guy who's dispatching may not know Dracut that well.
Are we paying Methuen to
I
do
don't
this
think so, which
service?
is another issue of, I remember a few years ago, Lawrence was like basically cutting their fire department, and we were doing calls
Well,
there.
maybe Russ Taylor's watching and he can call in and tell us
I
what
think
the story is with that.
Russ is a big union guy, and I know
Right.
you're a union guy
Right.
too, right? But sometimes I feel that Russ is more concerned about the union than the taxpayer.
Right.
Yeah, but
so
I
I don't
mean-
know where to take this information that comes from Russ.
I know one concern. I've always disliked this whole centralized dispatch thing anyway. And I remember when it first came up 7 or 8 years ago, I read the proposal, and one of the cost savings was they weren't going to be staffing the police station on the overnight shift. And we live in a town where the McDonald's is going to be open 24 hours a day, but the police station's not.
Well, you see that they are looking to have a receptionist in the lobby.
They're saying that
24.
now, but that's the whole thing.
There goes the savings.
But also, the way you're not going to save money by creating a whole new bureaucracy.
Yep.
So when this center opens, it's going to be bare bones, right? They're going to have the minimum staffing. But like next year, they're going to hire an administrator, and in a couple of years, they're going to hire a diversity coordinator. And every year they're going to be hiring, they're going to be buying the top of the line ergonomically designed chairs.
Well, I think they better be concentrating more on procurement before they do any of those other things. Procurement director, somebody that's in the expertise,
Right, they'll do
because
all
that
these
is a
things.
serious issue.
Well, they
But
definitely
again,
have to get that.
Bureaucracies over time create bloat.
Yep.
So, and there will be no savings from this because this is an unaccountable agency. I mean, Dracut will probably have somebody on the board, but is his loyalty going to be to the dispatch center or to the Dracut taxpayer? So what's going to happen is, they're going to do their budget, and then they're going to send the town a bill, and the town's going to have no recourse but to pay the bill.
Right.
So that's
It's
one issue,
outsourcing.
right? So let's get into more, issues about the election, because this is what the folks are tuning in. They
Right.
want to know about the candidates, right? Mark Pease, a chairman of the planning board. He's a quiet guy, right? And I know he's from Tingsboro, and he came into town maybe, I'm going to guess 10 years ago, roughly.
He ran, I think, in 2006 in Tingsboro, and he didn't win there, but he made a good effort. But
Right.
I don't know Mark well enough. I've seen him around, but I haven't had much interaction with him.
I've had conversations with Mark, several conversations. I'm going to reach out to Mark and ask him to come on the show.
Right.
I do know Joe Espinola. I played football with Joe back in high school at the Voc, so Joe and I are friendly.
Still waiting for Joe to come on the show.
Yeah, I had the conversation with Joe today, and for the record, Joe and I talk often, right? And he tells me he talks to other people all the time. They don't like the fact that he talks to me, but that's okay. Joe and I are friendly, and I had the conversation that I do want to get Joe on the show, and I also told him that I haven't decided yet whether I was considering I was going to run or not.
Brian, you're holding up so many people. I think you really need to make a decision so some of those people that are in the woods would come out of the woods and run.
Yeah, no, I understand that,
There should be
John.
more people running, and the more the merrier.
Right.
As far as I'm
No,
concerned.
I agree. I agree. I'd love to see a lot of people run.
Unlike the good old boy network that doesn't want anybody to run unless they're led by a leash. And like Jesse Forcier is on that dog leash that's held by the Lowell radio station.
Speaking of Jesse, I sat with Jesse on a few boards, and we agreed on several things on the board and the direction. We disagreed on something in the same direction together, but when he went back and had conversations with other people, they changed his mind,
of course.
and which and you could tell where it was coming from, right? So that's unfortunate. So no matter who gets in the race,
because he's proven that he can't think on his own.
they have to be independent thinkers.
Right.
So, if Mark is lucky enough to get chosen by the folks, hopefully he's an independent thinker. If Joe's lucky enough to get chosen, independent thinker, hopefully, right? Hopefully Heather, if she decides to run independent. I'm very independent. In fact, Phil and and I always hate to bring this up, Phil's not here, but we're on the board together, we're very friendly, but we've had some disagreements on directions we should go on different things. But what I like about Phil and my relationship is that we don't get mad at each other over it, and we don't hold it against each other where that other group, the good old boys, they hold it against you.
Yep.
And you're done, right? So
when people think that they're in with them, they're not really in with them, because that circle is a closed circle, and there's not enough people there's not enough interest in them keeping people together. They're just interested in the self-preservation and hanging on to the control that they have. They keep saying that we're trying to get control of the town. But when have we ever controlled the town? We've never had control of the town. And even when I was on the board, I never tried to control the town. I just tried to point the town in the right direction and point out issues that are important to the voter, and vote it to people and try to be the voice of people that didn't have a voice for whatever reason.
I always say, John, if you want to know about a certain candidate, reach out to people that candidate has been on different boards with, different committees with, and ask those people about, if I want to know anything about John Zimmerman, I'm gonna call up people that worked with John Zimmerman, that sat on boards with John Zimmerman. They might not like him or agree with him, or they may like him and agree with him, but I want to ask, how was John on the board? What did he do? What was his effort on working with the committee and getting projects done or bringing projects forward? I want to know somebody who's going to be there, who's going to be a worker, not just sitting there to take a seat.
But Brian, if you're I'm going to give you an example. If you're on the wrong side of a 4-to-1 vote constantly because you're speaking out for the taxpayer, and Tammy Drisselaris is one of those people, and I was one of those people on a lot of instances where I was on the other side of issues that I was speaking out for the taxpayer. And the majority of the board always speaks about their close-knit, good old boy network, the people involved in the town that don't want any change. Keep everything the status quo. And that's something I think we should get into later on, talking about the manager situation that's coming up. That's that's a huge.
That's huge. That's a
huge issue coming forward, and it should be an issue. And every candidate ought to be asked how they feel about what qualities and what kind of qualifications the next town manager should have. Do you want a town manager that's going to be status quo and don't make any waves and go ahead, kind of like Dennis Peendeck did for 27 years? Then you're going to have a town that's going to be far behind the 8 ball. If you're going to take a chance on a person that's going to come in here and be an economic development director, that somebody that's going to really push for economic development to be able to expand the tax base without going to the taxpayers. Those are the types of things you need, but you need that guy or gal to also have a good financial background.
But the new town manager is going to be in place by the
hopefully
election,
by the election, but it still should be an election
issue.
issue.
It should be an election issue because they're going to have to work with whoever's in there.
What do you
and
expect
that
of
was
that town manager?
That was one of the things with Duggan is, he's it's kind of like Billy Martin. He'd come in, that first couple of years, he'd do really good, but, that personality just grates over time, and, it's not necessarily a long-term
they
solution.
refer to Brian Bond as a bull in a china shop, but he gets things done, right?
Sometimes you need that, but I don't know if we need that now. I think
that's
we
what
need
they
someone
thought.
now that's going to be more, maybe be here for 5 or 10 years as opposed to 3 or 4.
Well, I think the days of the 5 or 10 year, the 10-year manager are gone. You're never going to have a person there that
Right, because
long.
they want to jump from one job
They either
to another
wanna move,
job
or you can't get
to
along with
increase
them
their
long
pay.
enough. Right. It's always about getting more money.
Right, more money, more
What's
money.
the
more
first
money.
thing the interim town manager wanted?
Well,
What's
more
the
money.
first thing? More money, because I'm
Right.
doing more jobs.
But one thing the town
Doesn't
charter
make
says,
sense.
John, right? Town charter says that the manager is not supposed to have a contract.
Right.
And that's something that I'd like to know, any candidate that's preparing to run for office, do they support a contract with the new manager? Because if you support it, then you're breaking a town law.
Right.
Right? So that's a problem, right? I do want to let you know that I do have some breaking news on the school committee race. So when we get to that, we can chat about it. And we want to get some other stuff going too.
Yes.
When are the papers out for selectmen, and when is the final day to
Brian
file?
posted it on the Dracut Connection. I don't know if you can get that.
Yeah, I'm gonna
picture up.
kind of scramble to that.
So there's 2 seats on the Board of Selectmen. There's a 1 seat on the school committee. I think is the moderator up for re-election this time, or is he's got a 3-year term now. I don't know if he's up for re-election.
No,
at
I
this
don't think
point.
he is.
There are
Housing
couple of other
Authority,
people. There's a
probably
housing authority,
library.
and I've got breaking news, but we may already know that. But Russ Taylor is not running for re-election, and it comes from a reliable source. For whatever reason, I think he just decided he's had enough. And
Yeah, well, he's been there about 10 years. I want.
Tommy
This is probably
Bowmill,
like 3
Tommy
years.
Bowmill is a possible candidate for that. I hear Brian Bond is also considering that, as well as a couple other people. Brian's got expertise. He served there for a number of years, and they got a lot of things done when they were on that board.
And I hate to say, there hasn't been much done since I
No,
left.
they have 10 and 15-minute meetings now.
Right, right.
Then it
and
was
that's
10
what
or
Charlie Kakavas is complaining about.
Yeah.
The meetings are so short. And so, Russ Taylor was the chairman of the board, and, the fish rots from the head down. And if he is not doing his job, then, the rest of the crew, is not doing well.
You have a Dracut Water Supply District seat open, or coming up too. It's not open, and that's Bill Moran's running for re-election there. So that'll be interesting to see if anybody goes for that. I don't think anybody will.
Yeah, those, you have the selectmen, that's almost always contested. Usually school committee is. Sometimes housing authority, like the library, the water district,
No.
very rarely do you
Very
get anybody
rarely.
running for those.
So
So
I
you got
got
the calendar
So I've
now?
got the information here. So the nomination papers to run for town offices are available on February 3rd. The last day to obtain nomination papers are March 16th, and the last day to submit the nomination papers are March 16th. So it's the last day you can draw. So you can go there in the morning, John, on March 16th, pull your papers, and return them in the afternoon.
Same day?
You only
Same
need
day.
like 50 signatures?
I'm sorry.
No, it's got to be the next Monday.
It's you're correct.
16th is the last day to get the papers, and then the Monday following, which would be the 19th.
No, actually the 30th.
The 30th? So the last day to pull papers is...
Last day to file is March 30th.
March 30th.
Right.
So the last day to pull the papers is March 16th, and the last day to submit is March 30th.
And you can withdraw on the April 1st.
Okay.
And
And what
good.
is the
That's
day of
good
the
to know.
election?
And election day is May
May 9th, I
May
believe.
9th. Now, if you remember, a few years ago, Kathy Richardson pulled papers out when she ran the last minute. So she only had like a 3-week campaign. That's interesting, huh? And she
Yeah.
won.
No.
So it's all about name recognition and being in the right position at the right time and spending money wisely. So
Does it have how many signatures you actually need? I think it's a pretty low bar.
It's 50?
50, I think
It
it
is
is. I
50?
think it's
Yeah.
50.
Yeah.
It's not more than 100 for sure.
So
you can't get 50 signatures.
let's get into the school committee race.
Right.
And that's where my breaking news is. So I had reached out to Sabrina Heisey, and asked her if she was seeking re-election. And she told me she was not, due to commitments with her new position and some schooling that she's doing at this time.
So she's not running.
She is not running, so there's an open seat at the school committee. That should be interesting,
Yeah.
because who knows what goes on there. It's an open seat. She did not rule out getting back involved with Dracut politics in the future. And I did invite her to come on the show and chat and maybe do some analysis type things as the election goes on.
Right.
So she said she'd love the opportunity, so that's great. We can get her on here.
That's awesome to get her on here, yeah.
Yeah.
Because we will, she's more of a liberal, and that would be a great mix to get her in here to hear her side and do some debating back and forth.
Sure. Housing Authority, as John mentioned, there's going to be an open seat there for the.
So we probably have at least one open seat, if not two, for selectmen, open seat on the Housing Authority, open seat on school committee. So there's going to be a wide open election. There probably will be a lot of candidates.
Right.
Brian, would you like another
Yeah.
hit of the small
Some
ice?
ice there, Johnny.
You want some ice in that,
Sure.
Brandy? No, man.
We've got the trustees of public library. I'm not sure who fills those seats right now.
Yeah.
But there's 2 seats available there. So
Yeah, though, I don't think I've ever seen an incumbent challenged in those. I mean, I think they're probably just thankful someone's running for it, because that's one of those things that there's probably more work than glory in it. So anyway, we have about 10 minutes left. So
can I just spit out this?
Yeah.
We got the Dracut Water Supply District
Right.
positions.
Right.
We've got 1 commissioner, and I think that might be Bill
No, it is
Zawinski's seat.
It's Bill Moran.
Bill Moran's seat?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, maybe he could come on.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if the good old boys went after that seat.
I would be.
I think they're going to have their hands full in the selection.
I know they've already got a couple of candidates that they're going to try to promote, I'm sure, and particularly if Allison Hughes is not running, and I can't get an answer back on that. So
now over at the Water District, the clerk's seat is also open, right? Is Kathy Graham the clerk there as well?
Kathy Graham is.
She's the clerk over at
Yep.
the Water District. I thought
Yep.
so. I thought so.
She'll get 2 pensions.
No, really?
Absolutely.
I thought because they're both Massachusetts companies.
Doesn't matter. 2 different things, 2 different pensions, 2 different companies, 2 different things.
Huh.
She will get 2 pensions. One from the Dracut Water Supply District. I don't know exactly what it pays right now for that. I think it's it's 20,000 or better for that. The clerk.
Right.
It might not be. It might be less. But
I mean, that's obviously not a full-time gig, right?
nope.
It's good work if you can get it.
It's a good gig. I'm not sure what the stipend is, but last I'd heard it was something about 28,000, something like that. It might be less.
And actually, the commissioners just got a raise a couple of years ago, didn't they?
They're still well below the 5,000 that they're seeking. I think they're about 2,500.
Okay.
2,500 apiece.
So the town election is May 4th, and the Dracut Water Supply District is the
May
9th.
4th, not 9th. Okay. May
Yeah, the
4th.
9th is the water supply. And then, of course, town meeting will be June 1st.
Aren't they
So
usually on
is
the
there
same-
time to go out from March 30th? How long would it take to get those signs printed up, Brian?
Don't you already have them printed?
Online?
Yeah,
On
don't you
the
have a few
signs?
extra laying around?
Did you ever save your signs?
No.
No?
No. When I moved, we...
Yeah, everything went when you
that went
moved,
with it,
yeah.
yeah.
So the water supply district is not the same day as the town election?
No.
Oh, why isn't it?
Yeah, it's because they have their elections.
No, I think you're wrong.
No,
It's usually on the same ballot.
Yeah, the same precincts take it.
Yeah.
Are they doing a separate ballot now? No. What's the first Monday in May?
Well, they're saying here the town elections and water supplies May 4th. Yeah, but it says it's someplace else different
Brian.
That might
on the
just
same
be
document.
might be a
It's-
misprint.
Can you
the
please say the
document-
words I tell my kids all the time? Dad, you were right. Dad, you were right. I tell my kids all the time. You know?
So we only have a few minutes. Do we want to try to get in?
Oh,
some
ladies and
national
gentlemen,
stuff?
I have some breaking news.
Oh.
I have some breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. The selection committee for the town manager search committee
Right.
has elected its chairperson. And it's our very own Phil Tebow.
There you go.
Oh,
Congratulations, Phil. That's awesome. Phil Tebow is
We'll
the
have to get,
chairman
we'll
of
have
the
to get an
selection
update
committee.
next time.
That's
Well,
awesome.
Phil is a great chairman. He's the chairman
a
of
good
the capital planning committee.
Much
right?
to
Not
the
the capital planning. The
Permanent building committee.
what's the committee that he's on? The master plan committee.
Master plan committee. He's
Yeah.
on that. He's on the NEMCOG. He's
President of Dracut Access TV.
Yep. So he's a very level-headed guy, much to the chagrin of the good old boy network that likes to bash us on Saturday mornings and tell people how bad we are. You know, Phil Tebow is a level-headed guy who is not dishonest like the host of that
Yeah, but
radio
he just
station
hangs out with a
wants to
bad
say.
crowd.
Well, that's what they do. You know, my mother used to say it too. You know, you are who you are by who you hang around with. Right?
Hey.
Oh boy. But anyways, congratulations to Phil Tebow. That's awesome. We just broke it. Very good. That's breaking news.
So we had 3 breaking news issues tonight.
We're on a roll.
And we got the weather forecast for the weekend.
We got to get into some national.
Yeah, we got
Yes.
about 5 minutes. So I mean, there's two issues. Quickly is Iowa's February 3rd, I believe. New Hampshire's February 11th. Liz Warren looks like she's dropping like a stone. Bernie looks like he's picking at the right time.
Go, Bernie, go! Go, Bernie, go!
I mean, for one thing,
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not for Bernie Sanders.
I'm not for Bernie,
but I
if
want him to be
if
the
I
candidate.
had to pick, out of the top 4 being Biden, Bernie, Buttigieg, and Liz, Bernie at least believes what he's spewing.
Well,
and that should count for something.
To me, it counts for he needs a straitjacket because he really believes that stuff.
Right.
He needs a straitjacket.
Right, but as opposed to Liz Warren, who will say, I mean,
She'll
just look
say
at how
anything.
she's backtracking on the guy from Iran.
Yeah,
you know,
but you know something? I don't care of any of those guys.
I don't like
think
any
Trump
of them.
gets beaten.
Oh, not by that.
I don't think Trump gets beaten.
Not
on
by
any of them.
that crowd, but one of them's going to win the nomination. Mm-hmm. And right now, I'd have to say, if I had to pick one to win the nomination, I think it's going to be Bernie. But I think once even if he wins Iowa and New Hampshire, then the national Democrats are going to try to find somebody to stop him.
But George, let me ask you a serious question: Is Joe Biden just an embarrassment at this point?
Well, I mean,
is he just an embarrassment?
Joe's lost a lot off the fastball, but he never really had a good fastball.
Right.
I mean, in 1988, he had to drop out from the whole plagiarism mess.
Yep.
And then he ran in, 2008, and he was out of it by Iowa. So a lot of the crazy things he says, he's always said crazy things.
Right.
He just now looks befuddled when he says it. So, yeah, I mean, I don't take him as I don't know who Trump would beat more, Bernie or Joe.
But I'd like to see Trump run against Elizabeth Warren. I think that would be fun.
Be interesting.
I don't think any one of those 4 would give him any trouble.
I don't think so either.
I mean, assuming the economy doesn't crash and we're not actually in a shooting war with Iran, none of those guys can beat him.
Today, 3 days or 2 days after the Iran botched attack, botched attack that we were going into World War III, according to CNN and all those other crazy fake news outlets. We were going, as concerned as I was of what was going to happen and what the next move was going to be, I never thought that Iran was going to be a formidable, not even close to a formidable, we're not talking China here. Yeah. We're not talking Russia here.
No,
we're not even talking Kim Jong-un.
No, we are talking about a country that's like 3 times the size of Iraq, and Iraq's been a real pain in the butt.
Right.
So let me get in here, right?
Yeah.
Because picture yourself, you're Iran, right? And your top guy just got his blown to pieces, right? I think they could find his ring finger maybe.
Yeah, they did, that's right.
And that's it, right? But so they're sitting there, they're saying, okay, we've got to show our people that we've got to do something. So we'll fire these missiles, into their camp that's their second camp away. There's nobody really there, 2 other camps, and they drop them where nobody can get hurt. Right?
They also told the Iranians, the Iraqis in advance, we're shooting missiles.
And they emptied out the bolt of the...
And they must have been sitting there saying, I hope Trump doesn't blow us apart. I hope Trump doesn't blow us apart.
Well, I understand.
And now it looks like they've shot down an airline.
I understand that the very next day, Kim Jong-un was on the phone to Trump. We good, man, right? We good? We good? We still good, Mr. Trump?
Exactly.
Kim
Jong-un.
The way I look at it is, you know, Iran's been unofficially at war with us for 40 years.
Yep.
And they've
Right.
been doing all these things, and they've never really had to pay any price for it.
No.
They poked
And
the wrong bear.
Well, I look at it, it's kind of like the old Mike Tyson quote that everybody's got a plan until you get punched in the face.
Yeah.
This was the first time they actually got whacked in the face. And they, you know, now, because, well, you know, that government's hanging on. I mean, yeah, they have riots in the street, people trying to overthrow
Trump
them. They
played it
don't
well.
need this.
He played it
I
very
think
well.
masterfully.
Yeah.
It was all the art of the deal.
Masterfully.
It was the art of the deal. He just played his chess game, knowing what was going to happen, and tweeting out. They must have been shaking in their boots
Yep.
that he would just annihilate them.
Well, the number 3 guy, who's now the number 1 guy, is talking like he's going to be out, but nobody's seen him since the funeral.
Right.
Nobody wants to see him because he's going to be hiding under a rock somewhere, waiting to get annihilated. It's just a matter of time. I think the Ayatollah has cancer, and he's living on on borrowed time.
I think that government long term doesn't have much
1
future
minute,
anyway.
boys. 1 minute, just so you know.
Yep.
Okay.
Is it 1 minute, or do we have a
Yep.
little bit of extra
No, we
time?
got 1 minute.
1 minute. Okay. Good. So.
So
I think Trump's going to romp.
Yeah, it looks like you're going to have Trump's running on peace and prosperity, and the Democrats are running on hate Trump, and everything they've said is going to blow up on him.
What about
has worked
impeachment?
out fine.
2 days, forget impeachment.
When's that going to? When is
Next week,
Nancy going to deliver?
Nancy's supposedly going to do it tomorrow now.
All 3, ladies and gentlemen, all 3 of the indexes today hit record levels again.
Right.
How can you argue with that? Unemployment for blacks and Latinos is at a 50 or 60 year low. Women are doing better. Everybody's doing better. How can you?
I'm going in to negotiate a contract this year, and I think this is as good a time to go in to negotiate as ever.
Johnny, we got to close the show.
Okay, so who's closing?
You're closing.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's always a pleasure to have you here on the Dracut Connection. We really want to thank Sean for coming in, Mill City weather, and we're going to have him back on again in the very near future, and hopefully regularly. And
We have a
ladies
lot
and
of good guests coming, right,
We have
John?
great
You
guests
mentioned?
coming. We have great guests coming. We got Diana Ploss coming back. She's one of the people that's
George Anthus would like to come on.
George Anthus wants to come on.
Sabrina
McDonough,
Heisey.
Bob Hoey from Lowell. He's going to run for selectman. We got a good lineup coming in the future, folks. But for now, we want to thank you for watching us and stay safe. And ladies and gentlemen, stay connected.